When's the last time or the first time you ever saw like a D'ussé commercial? Never. We were the marketing plan. Like, so to do that, you know, was pretty special. You know, and to have the run that we had during that time was wildly special. My name is Kameron McCullough from New York, New York. I'm an entrepreneur / business owner and also the founder of D'ussé Palooza. My childhood was a blessed one. I come from a family of 5. My mother, my father. I have 2 older sisters, so I'm the youngest. So I fit all the stereotypes of being the only boy and then the youngest child. You know, so very spoiled, couldn't do much wrong growing up. But you know, I was blessed to have 2 very caring parents who encouraged me to question a lot of things, who encouraged me to explore my creativity and my passions, and to not box myself into any particular career path, you know, career study, I would say, major or anything like that. So like I was always encouraged to like try different things, encouraged to be well-rounded. And yeah, it was a very, very blessed childhood. I grew up in the church, which is which a lot of people wouldn't assume. But you know, I grew up in a Baptist church. My father's actually a minister, and my mother was a deaconess of the church as well. My mother also was an electrical engineer, so heavy on the scholastics, you know, math and science. So yeah, I would say my childhood was great. Growing up, I was very like family-centered. I had a lot of friends growing up as well too. I was a very social kid. I thought I was funny. You know, I thought I was charming. You know, I used to like always try to charm my teachers and administrators and stuff to, you know, advance myself through school. But no, my childhood was wonderful. So how did a successful game night turn into any Palooza? I would say it was a combination of a few things. It was a great experience. We created kind of like this exclusive, inclusive type of feeling with like, if you had to know somebody to get in. So, you know, you create that FOMO, if you will, with people. So like, we always want what we perceive that we can't have. So like we had that kind of going for us. And I would say probably one of the biggest components was social media. Like and that's a timing thing. Like we were at the very beginning of like, I would call it social media marketing for events. And you know, hashtags were just becoming a thing, but it was for like comical and like funny stuff, like not like to actually promote something and go. So we had all of that working at the same time, and you know, some of the individuals who were involved were pretty influential on social platforms, and we were just, you know, just messing around, like putting it out, like, yo, Henny Palooza, and then it's funny, like when you start something like that's fun and really like practical and almost a joke, to when people start asking, yo, what is this? Like, I want to come, and the people think it's something that it wasn't at the time, but we were smart enough to listen to the people and to, you know, give them what we could give them as far as from an experience. So like it started in my apartment. That was a one-time deal, couldn't do that again. So then we just started finding like non-traditional venues throughout the city that would allow us to bring in our own liquor, that would allow us to, you know, play music until, you know, the wee hours of the morning or whatever. And like, we would get our own security. So like, it was still kind of funky, but people love that because that's like so New York, right? Like the non-traditional way to party, like cats was partying in warehouses, you know, and like after-hour spots. Like that's what New York City is. If I was to describe Palooza, I would say that it was this like great communal gathering. And I say communal because it was started around really like this fundamental idea of partying, where like we didn't have a ton of money. We didn't really like what the clubs felt like. So it was like, you know, let's party the way we want to party. I didn't have any concerns going into business with friends, just because I know me and I know how I carry myself in friendship and in business. And there is a level of accountability that I always carry for myself and for the people that I'm dealing with. So we had some hiccups along the way, like obviously with friends, like there's liberties that get taken sometimes, and you know, like I had to have a lot of conversations of like, oh, treat this like it's Microsoft, treat it like it's Nike. Like you wouldn't show up late to your Nike gig, so don't show up late here. We had agreements in place, contracts in place, because, you know, and that can get weird too, because like, yo, you're my friend, why you gotta give me a contract? It's like, because we want to protect each other. Like, and did we have disagreements? Sure. Like, did we have arguments, blow-ups? Absolutely. But there was always a level of respect and care that it was handled with. And, you know, that's what allowed us to go for as long as we were able to go at that level. When you talk about other team members, you think about the main host, low-key, and he was really instrumental in establishing our online presence, like what our voice was like on Twitter. So when we talk about growth, right? Like we have Benner, so we're talking about the growth of the actual business. And then we're talking about social media and marketing. We're talking about the growth of the brand. So Lo was instrumental in that, as well as Rory. They were both instrumental in like just extending their platforms and like helping us extend our voice via social media. So we kind of had it working from both ends, and I was smack dab in the middle of trying to grow the business and growing the brand at the same time. I have a pretty keen understanding of brand and branding, so everything that we did was authentic. Like nothing, like my quote was always, if it's not dope, we're not doing it. We said no way more than we said yes to different opportunities and different, you know, just different ventures. So I'm proud that we were able to stay authentic through the growth as well, you know, all the way through Barclays Center. So like those individuals played a huge part in that growth piece, and you know, and not just in support of me. Like they were able to do a lot of that on their own and push it. So perspective is everything. Lead with integrity at all times. Accountability is of the highest importance. The biggest lesson is that you can do something that impacts, shifts, changes culture. Everyone can love it, and you can ultimately do it for the time that you need to do it for and move on to new things. Palooza was a phenomenal time in my life for experience, for learning, and it's propelled me into so many other things now. So like the executive that I show up as today, the businessman that I show up as today, is a product of my last 8 years of doing Palooza. You know, I learned so much from dealing with people to, you know, to dealing with strategy, to dealing with marketing plans, to dealing with adversity. I was able to grow as a young man then into like a grown man now. Like I feel so much more just in flow and in control in anything that I go into, but that's because of all of the waters that I had to navigate over the last 8 years of being, you know, the CEO and leader of that movement. And, you know, it's taught me a lot, and it's an experience that I'll forever cherish. It's a part of my story. Like it's etched in my biography. Like if there was ever to be a book written about me, there'll be a huge chapter around, you know, the Palooza time. But yeah, it's taught me so much, and I think that for all that it's taught me and shown me, I'm truly grateful. And yeah, excited for everything that's in front of me. To be Black-owned is really, it's like all-encompassing of the Black experience in America, from how much creativity is needed, and like we take our creativity for granted. So like we were one of the most innovative event production companies, and that was great, right? But then it's like we're undervalued in like in the regular market. So we have to speak to our value. We have to stand on morals. We have to, a lot of times you got to do it yourself, before you come back in and get brand support or partner support. Because so much is against us, we have to be for us. And that's the only way that we're gonna get past a lot of these inequities, like get to some real wealth, get to, like we have to find that sauce of community amongst business owners and entrepreneurs and just talented and gifted people, so.